الرؤساء والأمراء العرب كويت العرب تستنجد بكم.
To all intents and purposes, Kuwait has ceased to exist as an independent sovereign nation. And with one stroke, Saddam Hussein and Iraq have intimidated every other country in the region.
Most people felt sure that Saddam Hussein wouldn't make good his threat to invade. After the events of the last 24 hours, nobody is ever likely to ignore his menaces again.
The repercussions from the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait are only beginning.
The prospect of a military intervention is such a remote possibility as not to be taken into consideration.
Until this happened, the Bush administration was treating the Saddam Hussein regime as a source of stability in the region.
It's about 10,000 miles away. It's a harsh climate. We don't have bases in the area.
Tyrants like Saddam Hussein must be dealt with.
It can take out the chemical weapons facility. The U.S. can, in short, leave Iraq vulnerable to its own enemies in the area, Iran and Syria.
Get out of Kuwait by the 15th of January or the war begins.
For us, we are neither intimidated or frightened from that, but we are determined to go through peace by negotiation.
ABC News coverage of the Gulf War.
Throughout the entire sky, there are flashes of light. Something is definitely underway here.
The Associated Press carries word from the U.S. Air Force that the attack is underway.
There were several hundred aircraft at the very least, and perhaps as many as 1,000.
Chinook after Chinook.
They were trying to knock out the eyes and ears of Saddam Hussein.
This will not be a protracted, drawn-out war.
It's time to get started. Are you frightened at all? I'm scared to death.
The general absorbing and handling the massive information flowing in a high-technology war.
Iraqi radio says the mother of all battles has been started.
As night falls on the first day of the ground battle,
Blitzkrieg has gone ahead with seemingly little Iraqi resistance.
I've never been to combat before, but I thought it'd be a lot tougher.
Most of the Iraqis seem to be beating a full retreat, or stopping to join what may be the longest line on the planet right now.
The Iraqi army, we've coloured their tanks red, is now virtually completely surrounded in and around Kuwait.
In Kuwait, the prospect for peace lies half buried in bitterness and bodies.
You cannot escape seeing the effects of the Iraqi occupation. Damage everywhere.
I mean, under the circumstances, I think we were bearing well.
The sun has risen finally on what seems to be a day of freedom.
We are not targeting Saddam. The Iraqi people should put him aside, and that would certainly would facilitate the acceptance of Iraq back into the family of peace-loving nations.
Well, I was only 3 when the first Gulf War started, so I don't remember any of that. We want loads more of your suggestions for Flashback Fridays from timesXtwo, and for more films, just subscribe.